my perspective or our perspective. Raise your hand if this is your very, very first Woodbury area prayer breakfast. Putting you on the spot. Just raise them high. Wow, look at that. That is great. Raise your hand if you've been to, let's say, several of them or 5 of these breakfasts in the past. Just raise your hand, okay? The rest of us. Raise your hand if you were at the first one where Jesus officiated. Yeah, some of you. Great. I want you to join with me and think of your life as a timeline. And you can identify benchmarks in that timeline as either, this was really a good time for myself and my family. And then, this maybe not so much, but this was really, really great. And maybe right now you're experiencing not a really great period in your life. Maybe right now it's a struggle. Part of who Mackenzie is, too, is she is a ballerina. She's a professional ballerina. And while we were living in Houston, she was part of a ballet company, the professional ballet company, which afforded her a lot of opportunities for photo shoots and being on stage. And she just loved it. She ate it up. And as was Mackenzie's habit and custom, she always calls me to let me know that she's on her way home. And so she called about 8 o'clock that night, and she goes, "Dad, we're on our way home." And I said, "Oh, hon, how were the pictures?" And she goes, "They were amazing." Everything in Mackenzie is amazing. "Oh, look, a dead bug. Amazing." She just loved it. And for me, this picture gives me great comfort because 3 seconds after this picture was taken, the car they were driving in was T-boned. And my beautiful ballerina Mackenzie was killed instantly. What do you do with something like that? But one story I just want to share with you. During the wake, there were 1,500 people standing out. Our viewing, we were blessed to be able to see Mackenzie's body, which was a huge closure for all of her school friends. And the wake, 1,500 students wrapped around in the hot Houston weather and stood there for 4 to 6 hours waiting to just have 2 minutes to see Mackenzie and to give us well wishes. At the funeral, it was overflow, 2,000 plus. The local flower shop loved us. They closed down for the day, and they all came to the funeral because they were so moved. And one of Mackenzie's best friends, who was not a believer, hated God, didn't believe any of it. It's just a bunch of stories. Maybe you're like that right now, but just not even close to being a churchgoer or even loving God. Afterwards, came to us and said, "Mr. and Mrs. Stocker, as I was standing over Mackenzie's open casket, I gave my life to Christ." And then she said, "Mackenzie's been telling me about Jesus since I've known her, and I've blown her off every time. But now I get it. God's changed my life." And then she said, "I don't get all the Jesus stuff quite yet, but I know there's a God, and I know that I'm going to heaven because I want to see Jesus, and I want to see Mackenzie again." It's easy to love God when things are good. And the ironic thing about what has happened to our family is that I've never loved God more than a week after the accident, because I had nothing except God. And I realized that all my questions, all the things I wanted to ask, all the things I wanted to find out, it didn't really matter because I had God's peace. And you see, you don't need to have all the answers to experience all of His grace. Let's pray.